Okay, hello everybody. Welcome. I tried to say hi to everyone as I came in. If I missed you, I do apologize. There's a lot of you. Um, but good morning. Hopefully you enjoyed a little early morning music. I'm going to try to do that because I think it helps just kind of get us going in the morning. Um, since we have to be here at 8 a.m. with each other, since we get to be here at 8 a.m. with each other. So, yeah. So today, just kind of go over a couple things. Today is just kind of a short session just to introduce myself, let you know what to expect in this class. I know a lot of you, I was looking through the schedules, a lot of you have double classes in the morning, so you have 2 different morning electives. I understand that. We'll work with that, not a big deal. Today, if you don't have any other classes to be at right now, stay here, obviously. If you have a second morning elective and you'd like to go to that session, I am having the same session again at 10. So if you're free at 10, I know most of you have an English class, but if you are free at 10, you can come then, or you can watch the recording. It's up to you. I don't want you to feel like you have to miss out on your other elective to be here. We're flexible. So if you do have another elective and you want to go to that, that is fine, or you could be in both. I know it is possible, though very confusing, to be in 2 classes at once. And just in general, we'll work with the fact that I know many of you have 2 classes, so don't stress about that. I understand. So they are not going to be the real times for the classes, except for this one. This one will be at 8 a.m. every morning, Monday through Thursday. Friday, you get extra time to sleep in because Friday staff has a meeting at 8 a.m. So we meet Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. till 8:45. We've got a full 45 minutes with this class every day. So, but your other classes, the schedule was created so you could kind of just get to know all of your classes. That's why it's real short classes today. Hopefully that makes sense. So Grace, you're in both. Okay. If it gets too much, you could always, leave this class and then just watch the recording. It's fine. I appreciate everyone here. 7 classes in 3 hours. Come on, just speed learn, right? Yeah, that's a little crazy. It won't be that bad, hopefully. So I am very, very excited to be here and to be teaching creative writing. Just a little bit of a background. Actually, let me get to my next slide, and I'll tell you a little bit about me, and then we'll talk from there. So my name is Miss Kelso, or Mrs. Kelso. I am married, so you can call me Mrs. Miss is just the generic, whichever way works for you. I don't care. I do have, I got my bachelor's degree in a double major in English and art because my goal since I was in 4th grade was to be a writer, to be an author. In 4th grade, there was a contest in my school where you wrote a book, and then like the whole school voted on the best books. My book won 2nd place in 4th grade, and it was so exciting for me. I decided right then I wanted to be a writer, and so I've been pursuing that goal ever since. So when I got my undergraduate degree, I majored in English and also in art because the idea was I wanted to be able to illustrate the books that I wrote, which hasn't, well, it may happen eventually. At this point, I'm not. I'm working on one book, actually, that I'm trying to illustrate. I'm not real confident in my art skills, but I've been working really hard in my writing skills. So that was my undergraduate degree. Thank you. We're going to talk about that a little too. After that, I went in, my plan was get my undergraduate degree, become a famous writer, everything would be fine. Of course, things don't work quite as easily as I had hoped. I ended up I ended up, first of all, working just retail jobs for quite a while because I couldn't, suddenly make money on writing, so I had to do something. So I worked a lot of different retail jobs. I used to work at Barnes & Noble bookstore. I worked at Kinko's. I don't know if you guys even remember that. Made copies and stuff. Oh, fair enough. My name is Miss Kelso. It doesn't look like it. I'll write the pronunciation for you. It is pronounced like Kelso. Little story behind that, I guess. My great-grandfather and my great-grandmother actually came here from Czechoslovakia. Actually, Slovakia. It wasn't even Czechoslovakia. They came from Slovakia when they got to Ellis Island. Of course, they were nervous about coming over. The guy there asked, "Well, what's your name?" And he said his name, which actually in Slovakia is pronounced Kelso. And the guy said, "Yeah, it's Kelso." My grandpa said, "Okay, just let me into the country." So that's how it became Kelso. Kelso. Yeah, very hard to say. I'm glad I don't have to say that all the time. Kelso's a little easier to say. But that's a little story behind my name, so now you know. So we're getting there. So I worked at retail for a long time, finally decided I needed to do something else, so I decided to go back and get my teaching license. So I got a master's degree in education. That one I went through the University of Phoenix online. So I have experience as a student online in a university setting. Then I got a job teaching. After that, I actually went back and got 2 more master's degrees, one specifically in literacy education because I wanted to help kids learn how to read. I struggled as a kid. And I'll tell you this now, just so you know, and you can forgive me. I've never been diagnosed, but I'm really sure that I'm dyslexic. So I had trouble learning how to read. I had trouble learning how to spell. I still have trouble spelling. And you will notice, especially in the chat, that I have trouble typing correctly. Yes. So I will tell you this. In the chat, I do not care about spelling. As long as we can understand what you're saying, no problem. If I type something wrong in the chat, I'm sorry. I type fast. Things get out, and That being said, of course, once you submit a paper or a story or an essay or whatever in this class, I do expect that you have spell checked it. Okay, so if you have the time to spell check it, I expect that you do that. When you're typing in chat, that's fine, no big deal. Yeah, that's part of my problem, Natalie, is I type really, really fast. I just type it all out of order, and then I have to go back. So then I also got a master's degree specifically in special education, again, to be able to help people because I struggled in school. And there were times when I wanted to give up, and I didn't. I had teachers who believed in me. Obviously, I continued, got a lot of degrees. But the big important thing is that I learned what it's like to struggle, so I want to help others. Yes, I type form all the time. I also type fro instead of for. Drives me crazy. But okay, so I have been teaching now for 16 years. This is my 2nd year here at MGLVA. I'm super excited. I love it here. I love all of you. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad we can offer this type of an education to you because this is the kind of thing I could have used when I was in school. The other thing is that when I was in school, not only did I struggle academically, I struggled a lot socially, especially 4th and 5th grade. I was at a new school, and I had no friends. I was picked on constantly. It was miserable. Yeah, it was not a good experience. And so part of my goal in life is to help as many people as possible to have a better experience than what I had, to not have to go through that. So there's that. Another thing about me that you'll find out is I love trees. I love actually all nature, but especially I've got a kinship for trees. So you can call me a tree hugger. I don't mind. I think it's a compliment. I also love lighthouses. One of my goals in life is to visit every single Michigan lighthouse. There are like 250 of them or so. I've gotten about half of them. So working on it, but it's kind of one of those goals, is just to see every lighthouse. Yes, save the trees, exactly. So the other thing, as I said, I've wanted to be a writer since I was in 4th grade. I am now now a published author. I have published 3 books, all of them through my own publishing company. So I created my own company called Enchantment Press, and I have published 3 books through that. So far. The first book that I published was called Yana. Yana stands for You Are Not Alone. That book I wrote basically about my experiences as a teacher. It's a story about a teenager who's struggling in school, and his teacher kind of reaches out to him, and it basically is kind of letters back and forth between them telling about their experiences, and by the end they discover that they're not alone. So I've got that one I published in 2014. This spring I published the book Under the Watchful Moon, which is an adult's kind of a time travel romance, if you will. It's actually about a woman who starts remembering her past life, so there's kind of goes back and forth between her current life and her past life. And then I've got a series of 4 fantasy novels that I've been working on basically since my daughter was born, and she's 19 now. So I've been working on that one for quite a while. This June I published the first book in the series. It's called Mysticos Summer. I've got 3 more coming, Mysticos Fall, Mysticos Winter, and Mysticos Spring. All 4 books are written. At this point we're just working on getting all the illustrations and doing the editing and getting it ready to publish. So sounds good, Angela. So yeah, I'm busy working on, making my dream of being an author a reality. Well, at the same time, I get to be here helping you guys do the same thing, hopefully. There's Dragons in them. It's not just about dragons, but it is. It's the Mystical series is a fantasy series. It's written for anyone ages 8 through 108. The idea is it's easy reading. Well, it's fairly easy to read, but hopefully enjoyable for anyone at any age. So. No problem, Kayla. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so that's a big overview of me. I am super excited that I get to teach this class. I have actually, as I said, I've wanted to be a writer since 4th grade. I've wanted to teach creative writing since I started teaching, and didn't think I'd have the chance. As many of you might know, last year Miss Cannon taught creative writing. I got to be in the class with her and watch her and help co-teach a little, but she was the creative writing teacher and she was great, and I thought I'll never get to do it, but that's okay because she's so good at it. Well, I don't know if you know, but this year Miss Cannon is our new assistant principal, so she got to move up and this position came open, so I grabbed it. So I don't think I've been to that one, Angela. Got to do it though. Yes. Yes, I love book freaks. Okay, so I think that's kind of the basics of me. I have been to Whitefish Point, but not for a while. Yes, Cameron, what is your question? Angelina. Angelina? Is that right? Okay. Chris Point, I think I've been to that one. How much relative rain do we have when writing in this class? I thought you meant rain like in the sky. We're going to talk about that. I know what you mean. It is a creative writing class, so I'm going to give you prompts and ideas, but you do get a lot of freedom. So what we're going to do, let me just kind of go over some things. We have 15 minutes left, so I want to make sure we get to it. But, Mackenzie, you have a question? And just so you guys know, I always set it up so that we can have more than one person on the mic. So if you do want to talk, and I call on you, you can always get on the mic too. Sheboygan City Beach. Oh, I've been there too. Brian, don't worry. I got to go to all of them, so. I will let you work ahead some. I'm going to give you some information about that too. Not a problem, Fatima. We're going to work through it all. Not to worry. This should be a fun class. That's my main goal. Angelina? Do you want to get on the mic?
It's pronounced Angelina. Angelina.
Angelina. Okay, Angelina. That's the other thing that comes with, struggling with reading and stuff is sometimes I struggle with how to pronounce names. So feel free to correct me. Trust me, growing up with Kelso, I know what it's like to be called the wrong name or pronounced wrong. So please correct me and I'll do my best. Okay, so in our class, you've got 2 assignments that you can get started on now. The first one, which a lot of you I think have already done, it's listed as assignment number 1, and getting to know you. This is basically a chance for me to get to know you guys a little better. So if you go to the assignments and click on here, it's going to take you to a Classkick page. I don't know if you guys are familiar yet with Classkick, but it is a program that I just learned about trying it out. The page will kind of walk you through what to do. Okay, so Tracy, you're very familiar. Cool. Basically, you're going to tell me your name. You're going to pronounce it for me so I can hear it, so hopefully I'll do better with that. Again, no promises, but I'll try. I do want a picture of you. It really does help me to have a picture with a name so that I can visualize better. That's the only reason. And then it'll actually take you to a Google form where you fill out some more stuff. Again, mostly it's just a chance for me to get to know you a little better since there's a lot of you. So so you're going to do that one as soon as you can, and that will be worth 10 points if you do it. Well, it'll be worth 10 points for doing all parts, okay? Yes, there is a video about me kind of going over a lot of what I just went over, but you actually don't need to worry about turning anything in. If you do all the points, it'll show up and I'll see it and I'll give you credit. So you're going to do that. And you'll get points for that. As I said, some of you have done, a lot of you have done it already. I'm working on going through those. So yes, thank you for doing that. The second thing that I need you to do is the diagnostic. Every class has you do basically a diagnostic or like a pre-test, basically just to see where you're at now. This diagnostic is a little different probably from most of your classes because it's not a multiple choice test because it's about writing. Therefore, it's not going to be just multiple choice. So to do the diagnostic, you go into the class content, and the first tab says Start Here. You're going to select Start Here. There's 2 things that say Diagnostic Assessment. One is the instructions, one that says Turn in Here. And anytime I have a folder where you're supposed to turn stuff in, I'm going to try to say real clearly, Turn in Here, so you know where to put it. Oh, I'd love to. I want to go to all the islands and lighthouses too. Yeah. So far, I've only gone to ones I can drive to. Someday. Okay. So for your diagnostic, Fatima. Okay, Fatima. Gotcha. I'll try to remember that. Okay, so in the diagnostic, basically, I just need a sample of your writing, okay? So you are going to write, it says it needs to be at least a page long. That can be double-spaced. Actually, I prefer if you put it double-spaced, at least a page. It doesn't have to be real long. It's just for me to see where you're at with your writing now, okay? It's a work of fiction. I know this is kind of hard to read from here, but it can be a work of fiction. It can be like a memoir, this is what I did this summer if you want. Don't have to. Short story, any topic. The one thing I'm going to ask is for this one, I don't want poetry. There will be a chance for you to write poetry later, but for this, in order for me to kind of grade it as a rubric, newer. Okay, thank you. I'm going to forget all these pronunciations, but I'll try. Yes, I love poetry too, and I love to see your poetry, just not for this because of the way it's graded. It can be about anything, school appropriate, fiction, nonfiction, just not historical fiction. Yeah, that's fine. And that's fine. If it doesn't load, no big deal. It's kind of a lot of what I talked about. But yes, for this diagnostic, you can turn in something you've written in the past. That's fine. Obviously something you've written because I want to see what you can do, not someone else. But it could be something. But again, this should be real short, a page. I want at least a page, double, my mind stopped. Anyway, at least a page, but doesn't have to be much more than a page, okay? Because I've got 100 of you guys in here, so it's going to take me a little while to get through them all. So I would like that one done by next Friday, okay? And again, this is just kind of a pre-test, if you will, so I can see where you're at now. When I get that, I have a rubric that we're going to be using throughout the year, or throughout the semester, and I'm going to grade it on that. The grade that you get for the class in this is not going to be that great. So you'll see a grade for now. After next Friday, I'll go in and everyone who does it will get 100% on it. Next Friday is this diagnostic, so one short writing piece. Spooky stories for October? Oh, I hope so. I love spooky stories. I love October. Okay, so I'm going to have to look into Wattpad. I've heard of it. I haven't had a chance to really explore that, but that's a good idea. So remember, it's a rough draft. Try to, run it through spell check. I'm not going to be real picky about the grammar and the spelling, but I do need to be able to read it. So just keep that in mind. One thing I'm going to ask throughout, anytime you submit anything to me, please put it in black ink so I can read it. 12 to 14 type font. Don't put it in like tiny 8-point. Don't put it in giant, font. Okay. I know fonts very well, so I can tell when you've got it really big because you're trying to make it look like you have written more. Okay. Just put it in a nice 12 to 14-point font in black ink in a font that I can read. Okay. I love fonts. I love fancy fonts. When I'm trying to read 100 people's writing, I want something that's easier to read. Does that make sense? So give me let me change the thing. Give me a green check if, I think that's all on the diagnostic. Give me a green check if you understand what you need to do for the diagnostic. Give me a red X if you have any questions. And it is set up, I always set it up so that no one else can see your response. So if you do give me a red X, which is totally fine, that just kind of helps me know if I need to clarify more. So it looks like most of you are understanding it. A few are a little confused. When is this due? By next Friday. So you've got a week. And again, it's just a page long, just some sample of writing. Fiction, nonfiction, not poetry. That's the only thing I asked, just because poetry's graded a little different. And it's just kind of a starting place so I know where you're at now, so I know what to focus on and how to help you. Yes, it can be spooky. Yeah, so do that. Make sure you turn it in here where it says turn it in and hit submit so that I can get it. Again, when I get to it, I will grade it using the rubric. Don't panic on that grade though, because that's not going to stay in the grade book. It's so that I know and you know what grade you would get at this moment. But what I'll do then is change it all. If you do it, you get 100%. Okay. we might do some kind of Halloween thing. Okay, so it looks like we're all pretty well understanding the diagnostic. So let's talk about the last thing I want to give you a heads up on right now. Right now it is beginning of September, but in 2 months it's November, and it is time for NaNoWriMo. So does anybody know what NaNoWriMo stands for? Because you all will by the end. MLA style only if you use references. Okay, so a couple people got it. Grace and Bella, it looks like. NaNoWriMo stands for National Novel Writing Month. National Novel Writing Month. What it is in the month of November, people throughout the nation, so all over the United States, and it may be other countries too, I don't know, but people throughout the nation say, I am going to write a novel this month. They make a pledge to sit down and try to write a novel in a month. Okay? You don't have to write a novel, but so for adults who do the NaNoWriMo challenge, the challenge is set at 50,000 words in a month. For youth and students, the goal is a little different. What I'm going to say is for this class, our goal for the month of November is to write 9,000 words. Okay? That might sound like a lot, but we can do it. Okay? That's not too bad. It's basically, if you wrote just in November, it's 300 words a day, which really isn't too bad once you start jumping into it, okay? The reason I'm telling you about NaNoWriMo now is to answer somebody's question. Yes, you can start now. We're going to be doing assignments in class. Anything that we do can count towards that NaNoWriMo. Count subject 9,000. Yeah, 20,000 words in a month, 21,000, great. Yeah, so really I don't think 9,000 is too bad. You guys can obviously do more than that if you want. The NaNoWriMo story, a couple things. It could be a collection of things. So as I said, we're going to be doing various things in class here, so you can do a collection of short stories. You can do poetry as well, so that's one chance when you can actually do poetry. You could do a combination. You could do a poem and some short stories. You could do one long piece. You could take a short story that you've written and lengthen it and make it one long piece. The point is basically starting today until November 30th, you're going to write at least 9,000 words. So for the NaNoWriMo, anything that you've written in the past doesn't count. Okay, that's the one thing I'll say. You have, starting right now at this moment from here until November 30th, you're going to write 9,000 words. Yes, you can do 9 short stories. That's actually, I think, what I'm going to do this year because I've written a lot of books lately, and so I might just focus on short stories. The actual site, we're not going to get logged in. I don't think you can actually start until November. So just at this point, anything that you write, make sure you save. Okay. Yes, you will have to do this. This is going to be part of your grade. Okay. Thank you for asking. Google Docs. My plan is yes. I think, I asked in the form, if you have Google Docs, that's what I'm going to ask you to use. When you submit anything, you're going to have to go through the OHS, and so you have to download it and upload it. But the nice thing with Google Docs, and if you're not familiar with it, is that you can share that with me. And I can see it, and I can critique it very easily. The OHS system for adding critiques and stuff is really tricky, and so I don't like it. I'm trying to find something here to show you. Okay, let me give you an example so you can see. Oh, yeah. Okay, give me a green check if you can see my screen. Oh, it's already 8:30. Ah! Okay, our class is over. I will go over this more on Monday, so no worries. You guys can go to your next class. Great to see you all. I'll see you guys all Monday morning.